Tony was reborn on the day the school beauty was assaulted by thugs. He shockingly took out his phone and recorded the entire incident, then left the scene without looking back, because in his previous life his strong sense of justice led him to try and save the bullied school beauty, but he accidentally killed one of the thugs during the fight. Unexpectedly, the school beauty did not testify for him in court. Instead, she accused Tony of being the main culprit who assaulted her. This turned Tony from a hero into a murderer overnight, and due to the severity of the case he was sentenced to life imprisonment. After spending 30 years in prison, Tony eventually died of depression behind bars. Luckily, fate gave him a second chance. When he opened his eyes again, he was horrified to find himself back on the day the school beauty was bullied. At that moment, the school beauty saw Tony approaching and immediately cried out for help. Instead, he took out his phone with a smirk and filmed the whole scene of her being bullied. Then he threatened her, saying if she didn't want the footage leaked, she had to transfer him $10,000. However, when Tony got home, he quickly realized that he was now just a powerless college student. If he wanted to take revenge on a rich girl like her, his best strategy was to first build his own empire. Just as he was lost on how to make his first buck, he suddenly remembered a prison conversation with a fellow inmate. The thug regretted robbing people because just yesterday he found out that over 100 kilos of gold were buried under his old family house. Tony was thrilled to realize that the demolition of the thug's house was still more than a year away, so if he could buy the house, he could easily dig up the gold, but he didn't know how to gather enough money to buy the property. Just then he received a transfer notification from the school beauty. She also warned him that if he dared leak the footage, she'd report him for blackmail. Tony then went with a real estate agent to visit the thug's old house. He expressed his intention to purchase the property. The agent thought Tony was crazy because the house was deep in the mountains and completely dilapidated. She advised him to think it over carefully, but Tony ignored her, and when the thug's wife asked for $10,000, he agreed on the spot without hesitation. $10,000 at that time was a huge sum. Both parties quickly signed the contract. Tony then found an excuse to send them away and eagerly started digging in the yard with a shovel. After digging for half a day without finding anything, he began to doubt the story, but in the next moment he struck gold. Tony then carried the gold to the bank, but the manager looked down on him due to his plain appearance and refused to let him into the VIP trading floor. Seeing this discrimination, Tony pulled out a gold bar bigger than his fist. The sight stunned everyone, including the school beauty and her mother, who happened to be there. Upon seeing how much gold Tony had, the school beauty's mother immediately changed her attitude, showering Tony with warmth and care. The school beauty also dropped her arrogance, saying there had been a misunderstanding, and asked if Tony could be her boyfriend. But Tony rejected her on the spot, saying she was too ugly to be seen without makeup. He then ignored them and asked the bank manager to move the gold upstairs. With the manager's help, he converted all the gold into $24 million in cash. When the manager suggested investing the money in financial products, Tony refused because he had just seen on the news that it was the eve of a real estate boom. That year, a real estate company rose to trillion-dollar value by developing a new district. Tony decided to buy up all the valuable land before they did. He brought the agent who helped him buy the old house to the new district and handed her a check for $24 million, asking her to convert all the money into property within one day. At the same time, the school beauty's mother received notice that someone wanted to buy their properties. Without